9-2, Part 2, Introduction to Angles. First, I want to do a little reminder on supplementary and complementary angles. Remember, a supplementary angle is an angle whose sum is 180 degrees. So in this case, we have angle K and angle T, and notice it forms a straight line. So the measure of angle K and the measure of angle T equals 180 degrees. So you have an obtuse angle in angle K. Remember, that's a big fat angle. And then angle T is your cute little angle. That's our acute angle. Complementary angles are angles whose sum is 90 degrees. So here we have the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B is equal to 90 degrees. Let's practice some complementary angles. So here we have two examples. Here we have, on the left, we have angle X and angle 30 and the angle 35 degrees. So the measure of angle X plus the measure plus 35 degrees equals 90 degrees. We're going to get rid of all the measurement stuff. So we'll just have X plus 35 equals 90. Keeping our equations balanced, we subtract 35 from each side, so we end up X equaling 55. So the measure of angle X equals 55 degrees. For the next one, why don't you try to solve that on your own and come back when you're ready. So pause the video and try to solve. So hopefully you started out with something like this. You might simplify it to y plus 22 equals 90. Subtract 22 from both sides to keep your equation balanced, and you get y is equal to 68. In other words, the measure of angle DAC is 68 degrees. Vertical angles. Those are angles formed by intersecting lines. So here we have two intersecting lines. Those are angles that lines that touch at one point, and basically they form four angles. Now the opposite angles, which are also known as vertical angles, are always congruent, meaning equal. So in this case, the top and bottom angles are equal to each other. They're opposite. Basically flipping it over, think of mirror image. And then the left and the right angles are also equal. Now sometimes you might see a little slash or dash mark inside the angle sign. That just shows that they're equal to each other. Now adjacent angles are always supplementary. Remember from what we just did, supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. So two of the angles that are adjacent could be the left and the top. They add up to 180 degrees. Notice they form a straight line. The top and the right form a straight line, so they are supplementary, adding up to 180 degrees. The right and the bottom. And finally, the bottom and the left. Those are all adjacent angles, and therefore they are supplementary when we're talking about vertical angles. So based on that, I'd like you to try to find the measure of these three angles. Angle A, angle B, and angle C. So pause the video and then come back and we'll go over them. So for the measure of angle A, they are opposites. They're basically mirror images. Therefore, they are equal, so we get 30 degrees for that. Now, if you look at 30 degrees and angle B, they form a straight line, therefore they're supplementary. So 30 plus what equals 180? The answer would be 150. Now, for the last one, you can actually kind of base it on two things, so however you want to do it. I'll start with it forms a supplementary or 180 degrees with 30 degrees. So 180 minus 30 is 150. You could also base it on opposites by saying, hey, I know the measure of angle B is 150. C is the opposite or the vertical angle of B, therefore it's got to be 150 also. pause the video and would you please find the measure for these 6 problems? Okay, so we start with the measure of angle X. That is a supplemental. So 180 minus 125 gives us 55 degrees. Measure of angle Y, it's the vertical or opposite of 125, therefore it is also 125. And then the measure of angle Z is also a supplementary to, or adjacent to 125. So 180 minus 125 is still 55. Number 2, angle ABC is adjacent or supplemental, so 180 minus 43 is 137. CBD is the opposite or the vertical, so it's 43. And then again, that's adjacent, so 180 minus 43 is 137. So we have 2 parallel lines here, and we're going to put a transversal. So we'll draw a line through those 2 that intersects them, and that is called the transversal. So the red line is the transversal, the other 2 are parallel. You don't have to label these, but I did. And then we're going to number. Be very careful that you number it exactly the same way. And we'll go to corresponding angles. Those are angles that are in the same position from one line to the other. So, if you look at number 1, angle 1, what do we notice about it? It's above or to the right of line AB, and it's to the left of the transversal. So we want to look at line MN and decide what angle is above or to the right of the line and to the left of the transversal. In this case, it would be number 5. So the angle of the measure of angle 1 is congruent to the measure of angle 5. For 2, it's above and to the right of the transversal, so I'm looking for above and to the right. That would be 6. Seven, it's below and to the left, so below and to the left would be angle 3. Our next thing that we have is alternate exterior angles, and they're on the opposite sides of the transversal, so one will be on the left, one will be on the right, or above and below, and on the outside of the lines that intersect. So that means we're talking about angles 1, 2, 7, and 8. So let's start with angle 8. We want an angle that's on the outside of the lines and on the left side, since 8 is on the right side. And that would be angle 1. So again, looking for the alternate exterior angles. For 7, it's on the left of the transversal, and it's on the outside, so we're looking for something on the outside and on the right. That would be angle 2. Then we have alternate interior angles, which are going to be on the insides of the lines. So that means we're talking about angles 3, 4, 5, and 6, and again, opposite sides of the alternate interior. So if we say 3, it's got to be on the inside and on the alternate interior. So that's going to be 6, 3 and 6. And you both notice that they're both obtuse. They're going to look alike. So what would be the alternate interior for 4? Hopefully you got 5. Would you please try these? I want to know how many degrees is the angle and how to justify your answer. Was it an opposite / vertical angles? Was it an adjacent supplementary angle? Was it a corresponding angles, alternate interior, or alternate exterior? I'll give you go ahead and pause the video and then come back when you're ready. So for A, it's adjacent to 42 degrees. So we're going to do 180 minus 42 gives us 138. And since it's adjacent, that means it's supplementary to 42. B is on the same line but opposite sides, so it's 42. Excuse me. C, it's adjacent to 42, and 180 minus 42 is 138. You could have also said that it's the opposite or the vertical of A, and I would accept that as long as you said that it's opposite vertical of A, not just it's the opposite, because we're looking at 42 here. D's kind of a tricky one. People have trouble with that. But it's 42 degrees, and it's on the left side of the transverse, or sorry, left side of the parallel sign, not parallel sign, parallel lines, and it's below the transversal. Therefore, it's a corresponding angle. E is alternate exterior. And that's it. If you have questions, please let me know. Thank you.